is. Oh, sorry about that. You mind if I just get who motioned and who seconded again?
I made the motion, Kerry Bush.
Okay.
Ted Luthan seconded.
Okay. And the vote, once again, it was unanimous. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so minutes are approved. Planning Department update on matters of general interest.
Okay, so last night the City Council adopted the tobacco retail ordinance. Should have minimal effects for the design review board, but in short, smoke shops in general are no longer allowed within the city. All existing smoke shops are considered legal non-conforming. So essentially they're allowed to continue operating until they cease operation, and then they have to go into conformance. Any questions on that? Okay. The other update was that at last night's meeting, the City Council did adopt the user fee update. So the planning fees and some of the fees throughout the city will be going up starting December. And the other item is the facade improvement program that we discussed at that last meeting. Was approved by the City Councils for the amendments. So the program will now match up to 75% of the cost up to $2,500. Some of the other changes are that the applications will be reviewed in batches. So about 4 times a year, 3 times this year and 4 times next year, the design review board will be getting kind of a batch of applications and reviewing them and acting on them, which ones should get funding. And that the applications have to be submitted 2 weeks before the board hearings. And the current board meetings for this fiscal year are tentatively set for November 4th, February 3rd, and May 5th. So in those meetings, we'll hopefully be reviewing some facade improvement programs. All right. And at the meeting, there was also some public comment requesting a couple of changes to the program, which the council seems supportive of. So we'll probably be taking it back to them again to implement a couple of the changes. The main changes are allowing active projects to be able to apply for the facade improvement programs. As long as they haven't been finalized or finished yet, they could still apply for the grant funding or the rebate. And the other requested change was that buildings that are sold but retain the improvements would be allowed to not have to pay back for the improvements or the facade portion of it. So essentially, as long as they maintain those improvements that were done, essentially we can just let that continue. So pretty simple requests. The other item that I can give you a brief update on is that at the last night's council meeting, there was a discussion on how the county allocates homeless funding. And in general, it's the discussions about how the city can be more involved with those discussions and what the processes are for those would be for that. And that's more council and county level items. And lastly, I just want to give you an update on what's going to the Planning Commission next week. So the Head West Market was recently approved by this Planning Commission, and the applicant had requested a couple of amendments to their temporary use permit. And the Head West Market's an outdoor kind of market that occurs on the Barlow on the first Saturdays of each month. So they requested to expand the number of, they requested to extend the market to the end of 2021. They also requested to expand the number of vendors and booths that they have present at the market and to change the configuration of the market. They discussed this at the council meeting briefly last time, but we wanted to make sure all the departments had a chance to review the requested amendments. So the commission sounded pretty supportive of it at that time, and that's about it. Lastly, Benedetti Tires is going to be going to their car wash improvements, or their proposed car wash is going to be going to the Planning Commission next week. And that really does it for the department updates. Any questions?
I have some questions.
Okay, Lars.
Is there any update on the Sebastopol Inn project?
I do not have any updates on that. The last I heard was that they have submitted for the, I don't have any good, I've got all this kind of secondhand. I believe they have submitted for the competitive grant, but that's all that I really know at this time. Like, if you want the county contact who's kind of leading that project, we can get to his email.
Okay.
Just so-
What about, oh, sorry.
I was just saying, if you want his contact information, just let me know, and
Okay.
we can get you his contact.
Thank you. What about the Woodmark project on Bodega Avenue?
Thank you for bringing that up. So they have provided a new preliminary review submittal, and we intend on taking it to the design review board on October 22nd, the second meeting in October. So keep that on your calendars. Or sorry, October 21st.
Which project was that?
That would be the Woodmark one. You guys had reviewed it back in December of last year. It was the 84 units on Bodega Highway.
Oh, that's what I thought. I just forgot the name of it. Okay.
Where we met at the library.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Alan, I heard a little word through the grapevine that it's no better.
So the improvements at this time are not too significant. It sounds like they may be trying to get another iteration to us by next week. And they're saying that one is significantly better, but we're going to see it next week.
Okay, thank you.
How about this? How about the Sirius Project Garden? Any mention of that?
The series project?
Yeah, the garden.
I have no updates on that one. I apologize.
There was major objections with most of us anyway over that.
The series project? I can contact Carrie and we'll have an update for the next meeting.
Okay.
And that one is that the, okay.
It's behind O'Reilly. It was Sirius Garden was just a small part of it.
Sorry, that one. I do have a brief update. I believe the current owners of the land are looking to sell it with essentially the comments they have last received, but that's about it.
What about the Beal Group project on downtown?
So they have provided a resubmittal today. It looks like there are some substantial changes to it, so we probably will want to route it out back to building and fire for comments. And I haven't had a proper opportunity to look at the current resubmittal.
Okay.
Since we're on the topic, hey, what about any Caltrans improvements and updates and timelines and/or thoughts?
I have no updates on those. I have no knowledge on those, to be frank.
I had that question too. So we just had this big project which is finishing up for the corners and such, and there was another project where the sidewalks wanted to be changed that got put on hold because the council complained, and I guess those are two separate projects, I guess, right?
I'm going off of memory here. I believe one's a city project and the other one is a council project. Or Caltrans versus city one, and I think you're maybe talking about the city one that went on hold. I'm not too confident on those. But I can get an update for next time.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the public regarding items not on our agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to our public hearing. Got two sign projects. So the first one up is 110 North Main.
Okay. So before I begin, I do want to let you guys know that the applicant for this one is not present at this time. I did tell them of the meeting date and we provided them the meeting, but I haven't heard from them at this moment. So I just want to give you that update. Okay. So we can proceed with it if you guys would like, or we can put the Rite Aid one ahead of it since they're here.
Why don't we switch them? Why don't we go ahead and put Rite Aid in front?
Okay. Perfect. So I'm just making sure I got the right application. Okay, perfect. All right, so the Rite Aid application is at 218 North Main Street. They're requesting roughly 105 square foot sign. It's reverse channel letters with halo illumination. The sign's proposed to be utilize white, blue, and green colors, as well as the new Rite Aid logo. The halo illumination is proposed at 5,000 Kelvin, which is kind of the bright white or the daytime white color. Sorry. So the project is generally consistent with the zoning ordinance. The maximum sign allowance for the site is 175 square feet. The project, as mentioned earlier, is about 105 square feet, which is consistent with this regulation. The code does discourage external illumination. However, previous actions have determined that halo illumination, as long as it's not shining through the base of the letters, is considered halo illumination. The project does propose, 5,000 Kelvin halo illumination color, which the board and the council have previously requested to be changed to 2,700 Kelvin, which is more of a warm white. And the other main item on this one is that the other main regulation on this is that the city allows for a maximum of 2 signs per for buildings or for tenants. They're currently only proposing 1 sign for this building, which is once again consistent with the standard. So in general, staff finds that the sign is generally consistent and the overall size of it appears to be fairly comparable or compatible with the large size of the building. So it seems like it's I'm missing the word I'm looking for. It's in scale with the building itself, given it. The existing sign is slightly smaller than this one. It's about 104, and if you round, about 105 square feet. So it's pretty similar in size and scale to the existing sign. Just kind of updating it and adding the halo illumination and changing the colors and font. So yeah, I guess that in general, I recommend a conditional approval of this. Essentially approving the sign as proposed, but changing the illumination to 2,700 Kelvin. So that would generally conclude staff's report. And if you have any questions of me, please let me know. Otherwise, the applicant is here.
Sounds good. Thank you, Alan. Any questions of staff?
Yeah, is the current Rite Aid, is it lit up now? I'm never by there after dark. So are there lighting on the current sign or not?
So I did dive into this to try to get an answer. And the current sign, I could not actually find any permits for in our history. But about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, there was a sign application requested and they asked for internal illumination, which the board said no to. So I don't know if the sign is or is not currently illuminated.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't know that I've been down there and really paid that much attention.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that it was probably designed to be facelit, but it's pretty old. It's at least, well, now it's at least 2 logos ago, so.
That's pretty much it. That's as far as I know.
Skip right over a logo change, but that's all right.
I have one question about the Kelvin. So I do know the city has been fairly adamant about 2,700 Kelvin for street lighting, for example, but I don't, in my brief experience on this board, I don't remember that coming up as a sign lighting issue. I don't know if anybody can help me with that one.
So what I can, and I if it's all right, can I give a little bit of background? Just
Yeah.
I haven't been here as long as most of you guys, but this is my 2 cents. When we took the Pete's Coffee and the Supercut sign over at 231 Petaluma, the council did request that it be changed to 2,700 Kelvin in order to match the streetlights. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where that stems from my knowledge. But there is nothing in the code that dictates it or anything like that. So it's just a recommendation. But if the board sees fit otherwise, the board sees fit otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
And that's my recollection, right? I think some of the early LED streetlights went up at 5,000 or 6,000, and there was some pushback against that. And then I think kind of signage lighting got lumped in with every other type of lighting and said, okay, warm it up.
Pretty much.
But I wasn't sure whether it ever got codified anywhere. So it doesn't sound like it.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Staff. All right. Seeing none, does our applicant wish to say anything? If not,
No, I think you guys covered everything. I'm good.
okay. Does anybody have any questions of the applicant? I have one, and it relates to the lighting. So the thing is halo lit, so that our logo, our shield's shape with our mortar and pestle and herb in it, that's just going to be a silhouetted at night, right? So just the shield shape lights halo lit?
That is correct. So what we'll do, either we'll paint that graphic on the face of the shield, or we're going to put a decal, whichever is best. But yes, you will only see the silhouette around the shield during the nighttime.
Great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any other questions?
I have a question just related to the Kelvin issue to the applicant. If that's, you know, if you guys do that standard at 5,000, if you have experience at 2,700 and you have a preference, or just to get your feedback on that.
Well, for this Rite Aid change out, I mean, we're doing all these change outs for Rite Aid, and we have like approximately like 250 locations. Their standard Kelvin is 5,000 on all the locations. I will have to go back to Rite Aid and let them know your recommendation, because I know the 2,700 is more on the yellow side, but I will let them know that this was recommended by the city, and hopefully they will make that exception. But yeah, I mean, definitely we could do anywhere from 2,700 up to 10,000, but I do know that Rite Aid does prefer the 5,000, but under this circumstance, I will go ahead and take it back to them and see if that 2,700 will be okay with them.
All right.
And is the background going to be gray, like shown on this photo?
That is what they're proposing, and I think Rite Aid is working on approvals with the current landlord, but we're hoping that yes, it will be approved and they will paint it gray.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant?
Well, not to be a stickler because it's the same kind of question, but detail E on the last sheet, it calls out a Sloan Prism 500K white LED. Is that from a layman? Is that supposed to be 5,000 Kelvin, or is that still 500?
I think that should be 5,000.
Okay. I didn't know what a Sloan Prism is, so.
Yeah. I think
That's actually, Sloan is a brand.
I got it.
Yeah, product name. All right, any other questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you very much to our applicant. We'll bring it back to the board for discussion. In response, I'll just, since we were talking about lighting colors, we're actually talking about lighting colors most of the day today. I think what has happened in Sebastopol is kind of typical, that it starts with the street lighting that came out very blue, and then there was a reaction to that, and signage lighting just gets kind of caught up in the same. We typically spec anywhere from 3,000 to 3,200 K for sign lighting. Sometimes we'll go with a higher level for halo lighting, but we'll usually spec more warm light than we do cool. I don't know that we very often spec 5,000 K.
Okay. I think that I think it'd be nicer if it's not 2,700 on a sign and a building, especially if that's being changed to gray from brown. I mean, we just experienced some pretty orange kind of skies, and a little bit brighter light to me would actually be nice. Like 2,700 is such a like old-fashioned, way of thinking. We got to have lights like we had them 100 years ago, and it's like, it's fine. I get it for an interior of a home, but outside, I don't think it's actually the most appropriate. I mean, I haven't been part of the discussion citywide and streetlights and stuff, but I would definitely go 3,200 or up, even not necessarily to 5,000, but so yeah, I think it's to vary it is perfectly appropriate, especially in a little you know, relatively small scale of a sign in the context of the city.
Yeah, and 2700 does get pretty yellow.
Yeah, yeah. So other than that, I think it's a nice improvement for sure, and I'm fine with it otherwise.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Now, I can't remember, but I presume there are parking lights out front, posts with lights on them outside the store. I can't remember.
I'm sure there are in that parking lot, but I'm not positive about that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
There definitely are some there. I think they're kind of right in the middle of the lot.
Okay.
Well, I think your original comment of, wow, it's two logos updated from the past is kind of nice. So yeah, it's good to see something a little more possibly to date on that building. I think, you know, I was going to really be curious to see what comes maybe before the board for color changes, or if these, you know, facade improvements will really kind of modernize the downtown, you know, center in that way. But yeah, overall, I really can't speak strongly regarding the Kelvin factor. You know, I do know, like you said, Lars, interior related, it's 2700 around there, but exterior and how to halo light this, I'm a little bit more at the mercy of you, Ted, who does this for a living. So I'm just happy to see this outdated sign kind of get updated. So
I think I'm mainly happy to see there's going to be some new paint downtown.
that too.
Which cleans stuff up. I mean, a lot of downtown looks pretty weak, just paint wise. So I'll vote for this mainly for the paint job.
Yeah, the picture is, or at least the, you know, the production here on the quality of the graphics is, it really, it kind of speaks that it could use some of that.
Yeah.
New paint job.
Yeah, little refresh would be a good thing. Yeah, and to the lighting level point, if we want to, you know, bump it to 3500 or something like that, that'd be fine with me. Yeah. So if somebody wants to throw a motion on the table to that effect, it'd be great.
Sure, I'll move to approve it as submitted with the little condition of having the temperature of the lamp be 3500 Kelvin, or there between 32 and 35.
Sounds good. We have a motion on the table. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, got a second from Ron. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Looks like it's unanimous. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Applicant, yeah, thanks for the presentation. Look forward to getting a refresh on that building.
So,
all right. Moving on to our next item. Our item 1. Another sign. It's just a sign kind of day.
it is. All right, so you guys ready?
We're ready.
All right, so this is a sign permit application for Portico at 110 North Main Street. It's a new, I believe it's a new restaurant in town. It's required to go to the board because the sign exceeds 25 square feet. In short, the applicant is requesting a 3x10 vinyl sign on a backing. Sign will utilize, or the sign will read Portico Italian Social Food, and the sign will utilize brown, cream, orange, and red colors. The background will be brown, and the cream color will be utilized for the copy. And the red and orange will be used for the logo, as well as to create a border around the text. So this is a multi-tenant building. There's currently 2 tenants in this building, and which means that the total amount of signage for this building gets split between the 2 tenants evenly. So the total building frontage is 49 square feet, or 49 linear feet, which means that this building has a maximum sign area of 61 square feet. So between the 2 tenants, each tenant can have 30.5 square feet of signage. Sorry, I went about that kind of a long, complicated way. So the current application is proposing 30 square feet of signage, and the adjacent tenant currently has 5 square feet of approved signage. In terms of the number of signs allowed, the applicant's only asking for one sign for the tenant space, which is consistent with the code. The sign is not illuminated, and it's essentially just going to be placed over the building entrance. Overall, staff finds that it's consistent, and it is, it's a well-designed sign. It's typical of what we find, and recommends approval as proposed. So that concludes staff's report, and I don't believe the applicant is here. But if you have any questions of me, please let me know.
Sounds good. Thanks, Alan. Any questions, Alan?
Yeah, I want to know what the definition of vinyl is. Does that mean it's like a fabric type thing, or rigid, or loose like a fabric? What does vinyl mean in this case?
It's like a thin plastic film, comes in rolls. Usually, they come in different widths, and you feed it through a computer-driven knife, and the knife cuts it to the shape of the logo. It's got a adhesive on the back. You peel the back off, and you stick it on the sign panel.
So it will be rigid once it's up there, once it's glued on.
Sounds like it's going to be rigid, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a 1/4 inch backing of some sort, and it says framed, but I'm not really sure how.
Okay. I didn't want anything up there flapping in the wind.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a rigid printed vinyl over 1/4 inch backing, and then it says framed.
Does vinyl typically fade, Ted? Do you know? Or
No,
does
it depends. If it's vinyl that is actually integral color from the manufacturer, it won't start to show any signs of age for probably 10 years. If it's vinyl that's digitally printed, you can actually send it through a giant inkjet printer now and print the ink on it, and then they overlay it with a UV resistant coating. It's good for 5 to 7 years. So
okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Alan, did you say our applicant is here, or we don't have them?
They are not here.
They're not here, okay.
Thank you for that elaboration, Ted. Appreciate that.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's the thin sheet you just mentioned would be adhered to some 1/4 inch, like maybe masonite back or something. And then it says framed, so we don't really know if that's like a frame that's like a picture frame, right? That's trying to be part of the look, or it's just a frame that's part of the sort of the hanging system on the back.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I almost wonder whether we don't want to continue this to the point where we have an applicant.
So just real quick, my question to staff, if I could. So you said earlier it was 25 square feet they're allowed, but the joint tenants between the two are allowed 62 square feet, and they're at 30. So go ahead.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand that still.
So I'll try to simplify it. So this building is allowed 60.5 square feet of signage.
Okay.
It's split between the two tenants evenly. So
Got it. Okay.
I'm sorry, 61 square feet of signage split between the two tenants evenly.
Okay.
And it can have up to 30.5 square feet of signage.
Okay. And earlier I read that it was the 25 square feet is what's allowed, so that's why we're looking at this.
So 25 square feet is the threshold between whether staff reviews it or if it goes to the board.
Got it. Okay.
Anything over 25 square feet automatically goes to you guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Got it. Well said. Thank you.
Any questions of staff?
A bit complicatedly.
All right, seeing none, we don't have an applicant here. Any comments from the public?
Is this a new owner there, or is that the one that's been there for maybe a year? Anybody know?
I think it's the same business that's been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or now, if you guys would like.
Alan, did we get any comments from the public on this at all?
No public comments.
Okay. So back to the board for discussion then, or still to the board for discussion. So this looks a lot like, I think it's going to be done in pretty much exactly the same way as like Retrograde sign. Retrograde has a sign that's got probably vinyl letters on a panel over their front door. So it looks like something that is fairly typical to downtown. I guess the question is, do we want to wait and get any more answers, or are we okay with it the way it is?
Well, I think I've met these people once or twice, friends who've worked there for them, and I've always said good things about them as folks and their efforts. And given the crazy time we're in right now, I would rather not make them, do the jump through the hoops. And so I think, if we are sort of insisting on quality somehow in our standards of the design review board, that we, I don't know how we can enforce that per se. Right. As long as it's not a banner, right, which we have rules about, then I would say I'm fine with going forward with it.
Yeah. I think it's too bad the owner or somebody isn't or has not showed up, but I think we should just go ahead and just deal with it. I don't think it's worth coming back, with an owner. It's not anyway. So let's go with it as far as I'm concerned. I think it's fine.
I'm good with that. I mean, on one hand, I think I'd love to see a really nice sign on some of these businesses, but I do understand financial limitations to doing that. I'm sure Kerry spent a nice chunk of money on his very nice sign. Signage is expensive.
Yeah, it's the heart of your business, the brand, and that's when we start, talking about these signs. It's what's. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I totally agree. And when things get kind of flat and vinyl and things like that, it almost feels like you're kind of temporary. But that's just me up on my little soapbox. So my only other comment is boy, could this building benefit from the storefront rejuvenation program.
Yes.
It still has remnants of some old canopy. He's got like cut 2x6s sticking out of the front of this building. So maybe we could give him a little nudge.
Yeah.
Or at least like Ron was saying earlier, maybe even a paint job.
Is this where the record store was?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All Incredible Records, yeah.
Incredible Records, yeah.
Yeah, those rafters were rotten, and I think the little copper caps are structural still. So.
Okay. That's why the remnants are.
Yeah.
We'll give them some incentive.
So
probably not, but.
So real quick, guys, I like their logo and I like the look, and I've also liked their food. And I'm again in agreement with sort of the board here. It seems appropriate to, maybe just approve this as a board with the condition that staff will really get a chance to sort of have an overview for their attachment methods and their framing and how it's backed. And if it's appropriate to staff and planning, then it's a go. If not, then maybe it comes back to us. That's the worst case scenario, but it seems like the best case scenario is that they're approved today and they're allowed to kind of work with staff from here on out. That'd be my guess, my thought. I don't know if that seems fair.
So, yeah, kind of reading that as a condition of approval, kind of saying that what I heard from the board is you guys want it to be, a solid back. You don't want it flapping. You want to make sure it's installed correctly, and it's essentially not something that's going to fall apart within a year.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the things we've always reviewed in signage, is how they're attached, how they look, how they feel, what's the depth of channels. And, yeah, that's.
So we can clarify it a bit more.
That'd be great. That sounds good. Somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the sign as proposed, with the condition that staff will ultimately get give the approval based on their providing findings for not only the backing but also the frame.
Sounds good.
That
second on that?
Second that.
Second from Lars. All right. Any additional discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Motion carries. Sign is approved.
Go Portico.
All right. What else do we have? That's anything else on our agenda for today, Alan?
That's it for all the things that I have.
All right. Well, without further ado, we'll back to the rest of our day.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ted.
That's good.
Good day.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Bye.
See you.